Welcome back to UpClose,
FYI.
and today we're going to talk about when you're arriving to Los Angeles and the schools that you need to decide to go to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, when moving to LA or whenever moving to a new city and you're a performer or an actor, you immediately want to jump into class, which is a good thing. It's just the type of class that you jump into that's going to set the tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always ask people when they come and they talk to me, I'm like, okay, so where are the holes in your craft? And you have to be extremely honest with yourself. Where are the areas within your craft that you don't feel confident? So that could be within comedy, that could be within your technique, that could be within auditions. But based on the hole that's in your craft, that's going to be your jumping off point as to the particular class that you are going to want to go to.
Day one, you are beginning. You really don't have a technique.
Yeah.
You're kind of just wanting to jump into classes and go just take any acting class just because you're so green.
Like me with this thing on my head, I'm apparently very green because it keeps flying back. I'm glad to put this on. My turban is not working.
It's a beautiful turban.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's flying though. Having a technique that you could depend on when you are performing is
Very important.
It's very, very important. And I'm also a firm believer that you don't want to have just rely on one technique, but you do need a starting place. So for a technique, you would find a school that teaches Meisner, Stella Adler, even Warner Loughlin, Uta Hagan's technique, Lee Strasburg. Those are some of the different techniques that are commonly used here in just whether you're in Hollywood or Chicago or New York. Those are just like the acting techniques that most people use to have in their back pocket.
Yes. So then my question to you would be, how does one know what technique would be right for them?
You will know when we do it in the next video and we describe the details of each different technique. And then based on that technique, you will see which one resonates with you, and that's the one that you would want to learn more about. So let's just say technique is something you already have. Like, I got my technique in my pocket, I'm good, whatever. So it's my little New York coming out. But maybe improv is not something that you feel very strong in. And improv is extremely important to have on your resume, especially if you're going out for commercials. They definitely want to see you doing some type of improv. So going to places, going to places like the Groundlings, Second City, UCB, that's going to be very important to have on your resume. So you want to pick one of those places to go to. Again, we will have a video going into more detail of each section. The other type of classes that you might want to get into if you don't feel very strong in comedy. This is Hollywood, believe it or not, this is TV land.
Yeah.
More TV shows are filmed here versus films.
Or even into theaters. So meaning, so when we say it's quicker, it's because the turnaround is quicker.
Yes.
So you want to be able to be prepared for the turnaround. What I mean by the turnaround is that if they're casting today, you're probably on set tomorrow.
Having experience in comedy is extremely important for you out here in Hollywood. You really need to understand your turns. You really need to understand your threes. You really need to understand those things that really make the joke land. And just quick FYI, writer is king for specifically for comedy, but specifically for television. Yeah. A couple of places that you can go to for comedy: Scott Sedita, or Shari Shaw. Now let's just say you have all those things, but now you're ready to go work. Audition. You're looking for like an audition class. It's a different technique versus what you would normally do in your regular acting class, which is your normal scene study class. So just understanding that and going to those places, like a a Margie
Margie
Haber,
Haber.
Stan Kirsch, those type of places that teach you the technique of auditioning, and also cold reading,
Right.
which is part of auditioning. And then obviously just old school scene study. I'm a huge fan of scene study classes. That's when you really get to just dive into building your characters and working out a scene, and it's just really, really yummy. And going to places like Lisa Robertson Studio or Berg Studios, you know, just having an opportunity to get up on stage, creating the entire set so that you have your props and everything, you having your scene partner, and just diving into some material and being able to kind of work within that world and your imagination. So that's what you want to do when you come to LA. You want to figure out what are the holes that are in my craft, and then that will be my starting point. And then from there, you can continue on to something else. So I hope this was helpful. You hopping on that plane or jumping in that car and about to make that trip out to California, and you're like, where do I start? You start with figuring out where your hole is, and then from there, you figure out the class that you need to take to fill that hole.
Yeah. So again, guys, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see or what your questions are. And if there's anything that we didn't answer in this video, look out for our other videos because we're probably answering in those. Or if there's something else that you know, are questioning, just let us know and we will cover it.
Yep.
So, thanks.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Go.
So corny.